I believe we're on. And yes, we are on. We are recording. Hello, everybody. Trailer Trash Tim. Little bit different format today, and I've got a surprise for you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And there she is. There she is. There's Marina. Say hello, Marina.
Hello, Marina.
Does it feel like she's like in another state or something? What is she back in Missouri? No, she's on the other side of the table. That's my hand right there. She's shaking, but it's easier to get us both on screen doing this anyway. So to you, welcome home.
Thank you.
You've been here a few days now, so tell us all how's everything going with Pops and all that.
Well, Pops is doing really well. He's back to his old self. So
you were gone a minute.
Yes, sir. I was gone for over 2 months.
Well, you were missed. Wasn't she missed, Kiki? All right, I want to dive right in. I got a lot I want to talk about, and Marina has something maybe she wants to talk about as well. I don't know. It's kind of a free-for-all, but what I want to start with is James O'Keefe. Many of you are going to know who James O'Keefe is. James O'Keefe used to be associated with the Project Veritas. And he got fairly well known for basically outing people. He would go to certain people and he would do like undercover work, and he would catch them in the act of saying things that they didn't want anybody to know they'd said.
You might want to mention his new business.
Go ahead and tell us about it.
It's OMG, the O'Keefe Media Group.
Because he got canned from Veritas,
from
right?
His other company.
His own company. They canned him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as far as I was concerned, he is Project Veritas, or was.
I don't think there is a Project Veritas anymore.
Well, whatever the case. So now he's got his own little outfit going.
Yeah.
But he's still doing the same kind of work. James O'Keefe, there's I think about a 20-minute video of this you could probably find on YouTube if you just Google James O'Keefe. But he met in the last few days with a man by the name of Jason Beck, B-E-C-K. And boy, did Mr. Beck step into it when he was talking to James O'Keefe. Jason Beck works in the Pentagon, but he's not like a janitor. Jason Beck is the associate director in the office of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. And he is, I've got his stuff written down here. He works in what's called the Total Force Requirements and Sourcing Policy in the office of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and acts as the principal defense policymaker and advisor to the President of the United States. So he is not just some flunky down the ladder. He's got a fairly important position. He says that he helps write answers for testimony of the department's senior leadership. Basically, they go over to the Hill for hearings on the department's posture, and he helps out with that. But what's interesting here is what Jason Beck told James O'Keefe. I've got several quotes from him. To get the full context, you just need to go and watch the video. But among the things Jason Beck said to James O'Keefe was, he said, why not just have an open border? He said, I think we should repeal the Second Amendment and take all the guns away. Have you heard this?
Except for the government's guns.
Oh, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Why not just take I think we should repeal the Second Amendment and take all the guns away. This guy has classified security clearance. Okay. He said he wants to mobilize the National Guard to confiscate guns from people's homes and wants a, quote, monopoly on state violence, unquote, a concept he describes as we, the government, are the only ones with guns. he continued with James O'Keefe, we need to pack the Supreme Court, ban the United States Senate, well, I might be with him on that, and abolish the Electoral College. Have you got all that? This guy, I've already gone over what he does at the Pentagon, but he is right up there under Lloyd Austin's wing. Lloyd Austin, of course, is Secretary of Defense. Jason Beck is a highly placed bureaucrat in the Department of Defense. Oh, but there's more, if that's not enough. He also discussed with James O'Keefe his, quote, bottom surgery, unquote, as being painful and the changes to his plumbing. What does that tell you there, sister?
That tells me that's too much information. I don't need to know what's going on in anybody's bridges.
Okay, well, he's the associate director of the office, an associate director in the office of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and he says, why not just have an open border? I mean, he just comes right out and says it.
Well, in effect, we do have a wide open border.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to be saying this out in public, right? He says we should. This is unbelievable to me. The associate director in the office of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin says, I think we should repeal the Second Amendment and take all the guns away. If you ever had any doubt, ladies and gentlemen, of how Democrats feel about something such as the Second Amendment, there you have it. James O'Keefe, kudos to you, Mr. O'Keefe. Job well done. You got a bureaucrat to admit what we know they already believe. So there it is. We need to pack the Supreme Court. We need to ban the United States Senate. We need to abolish the Electoral College.
And when he says we, he means the Democrats.
Well, of course. I mean, he's
just for clarification.
Right there with them. So anyway, if you want to see the full interview, it'll be on YouTube, or I believe it is. I either found it on YouTube or Twitter. Maybe if I get the link, I'll put it down below this video. But it's James O'Keefe. What's the name of this thing again?
OMG.
OMG.
It stands for O'Keefe Media
Group. Media Group. Okay, I got it. All right, just jump in here anytime you got something here, but otherwise I'm going to go on. I want to talk about a guy by the name of Steve Wynn. If you don't know who Steve Wynn is a billionaire investor. He's kind of like Donald Trump in terms of business. He owns the Wynn Resorts, which are worldwide. Maybe kind of reminds you of the Trump resorts. I guess his signature hotel is in Las Vegas. Steve Wynn is, of course, as I said, a billionaire and a big political donor. But Steve Wynn has announced plans to open a casino in New York City, which would require special legislation from the New York government. But this is what he has in mind. He wants to construct an 80-story skyscraper. Pretty big, right? It would be one of 3 buildings, which would be called Wynn New York City, WYNN, Wynn New York City. And on this 13-acre complex, there would be a casino, a hotel, restaurants, a shopping district, a school. So this is an upscale, massive project. The signature building, of course, as I said, is 80 stories tall.
So it'd be a city within the city.
Basically, because it even includes a school. And there's other things as well there that I didn't mention, but it's basically a shopping and entertainment district. I guess it's more or less a place you could live if you got the scratch for it. You know what I mean? Now, here's why I mentioned this. Steve Wynn is not a dumb man, obviously. He is a very wealthy man, extremely wealthy man. And extremely wealthy men are not generally known for making dumb decisions, right? That if you got that kind of money, if you're a multi-billionaire, you're probably pretty sharp. You've probably got very good, keen business acumen. I mean, you know you're worldly. You know your way around
Or
a
you're
conference
incredibly
table.
crooked.
Yeah, or your father is the president.
Right.
But the question I've got is simply this: Steve Wynn. Look, I'm just a country boy down here in Alabama, but I got a simple question to ask you. You want to build in New York City? Why? Why, Steve Wynn? How does that make any sense? Have we not heard stories of people leaving the state of New York, and particularly New York City, in droves because of the overtaxation, because of the crime, because of the punitive stance of the city government and the state government toward businesses?
Like Letitia James.
Exactly. I mean, this is a woman, Letitia James, who basically just has a vendetta against Donald Trump. She's going to take him down. And she said she was going to do this before she was elected as DA.
And apparently she doesn't like to eat steak either.
Why is that?
Well, she's going after that one company. She said that they are misleading people on their
camera, not at me.
Huh?
Look at your camera, not at me.
Sorry. But this meat packing company or something.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. They're the world's largest beef production processing. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But because, as we all know, cows are killing us all with methane. They're destroying the environment. These evil cows, they're probably Republican cows.
Well, shame on them.
So she wants to shut down this meat processing plant. But I mean, I don't understand the thinking of any entrepreneur, whether you're starting out or whether you're well established. Why on earth do you want to do business in New York City? This makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Maybe he likes the idea of an extra challenge.
Well, he's got one. I mean, are there not more business-friendly locales Steve Wynn could build his casino in?
I would think so, like Florida,
Texas. How about just going to Dallas and do this, Steve Wynn? Or Tampa or Miami. I mean, I'd rather go to Miami than New York any day of the week. But this makes no sense to me. I mean, I don't know what his political persuasions are. I don't know if he's Democrat, Republican, Independent, or political atheist. I don't know. But that really doesn't matter, because if you are a venture capitalist, shall we say, you've got to understand, if you're going into Letitia James' district, you're going to have the guns pointed at you. So I don't understand the thinking of Steve Wynn on this at all. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. I don't know. All right, just pop in here if you got something. Otherwise, I'm moving on.
Move on.
Did you not want to talk about Hunter?
Well, I don't know enough about it yet to.
We're studying the issue. We got more Hunter news coming up, so just hang on. I want to talk about a guy by the name, a really impressive guy by the name of Wesley Hunt. Wesley Hunt is a first-term Republican congressman from Texas, from the Houston area. He represents Texas District number 38. Wesley Hunt is a black man. He is extremely impressive. He really carries himself well. He is very smart. He's very articulate, and he is a combat veteran. He flew Apache helicopters. I don't know what theater he was in, but he is a graduate of West Point, as was, I think, at least one sibling and his father. He's got an impressive resume, and he has taken his skills to Congress. And he spoke in the last few days in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I don't know, Judiciary committee. I don't know what the hearing was about, but he was there. And this is a clip that I want to try and remember to post below this video. It's just I'm going to post the entire video clip of Congressman Hunt speaking. He did so for about 5 minutes before the Senate panel. And he was talking about, pardon me, he was talking about something that I talked about either last week or the week before. And that was the issue of voter ID. And I was talking about how Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, went to Selma, Alabama in the last week or two to give a speech in a pulpit of one of the black churches down there in Selma. Where did I even begin with this? I've covered this previously, and it's just so insulting to me that these rich, white, elite, bureaucratic politicians, some elected, some not, always make this trek, it seems, every election season to stand before the people in the black church in Selma and pander to them and pat their heads and look down on them and patronize them.
It's disgusting.
It is exactly, that's exactly what it is, as Representative Hunt states here. I'll get to this in just a moment, but let me get back to Merrick Garland, because he was speaking in front of this group of black worshipers, and he was talking about just how unjust things are in America and how it's just nothing but racist that blacks would be required to present a photo ID when they go to vote. And he was talking about how we're going to make sure that we have mail-in ballots and that we have drop boxes so that and he talked about how black people suffer from suppression at the polls. And I said then that is utter nonsense. You cannot cite one example. And I said in the video, Mr. Garland, can you cite one example of any black person in America being suppressed or kept from voting? He cannot, which is why he does not, because there is no such evidence whatsoever. I said in that video, if you go to vote in the United States, you will get to vote. As long as you are there and in line by the time the polls close, you will vote. There's no question about it. There is no suppression. You may have to wait in line, but that's not unreasonable. I can tell you in my own case, I am asked for a photo ID every time I go into the voting booth. I whip out my wallet, and there it is. No muss, no fuss. There's my ID. I should be asked for my ID, as I am asked for my ID every time I go to the bank to present a check anywhere. I mean, there's so many places where you have to present if you want to get a drink, if you want to purchase tobacco, and on and on. There's countless examples of where you have to present a photo ID. I never cry when somebody says, "May I see your ID?" I never whine about it. I never say, "Well, you're a racist for asking me for my ID." It is absurd. And yet Merrick Garland stands in the pulpit of this church in Selma and talks about how the black people there are being oppressed and suppressed by the voting process, apparently, in America. And this is what Wesley Hunt was addressing when he sat before the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. And he said, among other things, this. This is such a fantastic term. I first heard the late, great Rush Limbaugh use this term. And Wesley Hunt was talking about this very thing. And he called this the soft bigotry of low expectations. Is that not a great term? Is that? I'm talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a great term.
He said in his little 5-minute diatribe Democrats think so little of black people that they believe blacks cannot obtain a photo ID in America, apparently. He said this is insulting to us and it is demeaning to us.
It
And
truly
he
is.
is exactly right. It's upsetting to me when I see people like Garland or Hillary Clinton go to this church in Selma and talk down to these people, and Hillary tries to change her voice to sound like, I guess, a black woman when she says, I ain't in no ways tired. I mean, what is that? I mean, I don't understand why it is that the black people in the congregation just sit there and take this nonsense from these rich white elites. And brother and sister, if anybody's a racist, there you are right there, because it's people like Hillary Clinton and people like Merrick Garland and people like John Horseface Kerry who go down there to Selma and look down on these black people.
Well, the latest example was when Kamala was there.
She went there.
Yeah, just recently.
But is it not exactly what Wesley Hunt said? Is it not demeaning? I mean, can you imagine yourself as a black person in the congregation of this church in Selma?
I can.
And to have them to stand over you, lord over you in their pulpit and talk down to you like you're an idiot.
And
or like you're a third.
Accuse you of being too stupid
to
get a driver's license or some other form of ID.
How hard is it to get an ID? Seriously.
It's not.
I mean, if you don't have one, could you go out today and get a photo ID?
Yes, I could.
You could go. I mean, seriously, could you go like to Kinko's or FedEx and get an ID?
Well, for it to be a sanctioned ID, it has to be done by the state.
Okay, but you could
so
go.
You can go to the DMV and just get a plain ID without it being a driver's license.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go to the DMV and get an ID, right?
Yeah.
Just get an ID. You could go to the post office and get a passport, can you not?
Yeah.
Wesley Hunt was sitting there, and he takes out his wallet, and he starts whipping out cards, and he goes, here's my Texas driver's license. Here's my military photo ID card. He says, here's my carry card, because that's how we roll in Texas. I've got a carry card right here in my wallet. Let me see what I got here. I got my Costco card. I got my America the Beautiful pass. You know what that's for? That's so I can get into government parks like national parks and campgrounds, and it's a geezer pass. Can you get a shot of that? That gives me half off. I get a 50. That's what happens when you get to be 62 years old. Here's my health card. That's not a photo ID. There's my AMAC card. That's not a photo ID. But I've got photo IDs, folks. Here we go. There you go, right there. I know. This is my carry card. This means I can carry my little friend with me in the state of Alabama. Actually, I don't think we're required to even have this anymore.
We don't have to have it anymore.
I think more states are doing that. South Carolina just did it, I know. You don't have to have a photo ID to carry, to conceal carry, nor should you have to. Hello, Second Amendment, right?
Right.
So I guess I could cut that up, although I'll save it for sentiment's sake. But he showed, Wesley Hunt displayed 6 forms of photo identification. He said, after saying that this was insulting and demeaning what Merrick Garland did, he's exactly right. He said, my father had a photo ID in the 1940s, and he was raised as a black man in the South. And he went on to conclude his remarks by simply saying, this is all about one thing. It's something called personal responsibility. That's what it's about. And these rich, white, elite people go down to the church in Selma and pet us on the head and look down on us and demean us. Folks, you tell me where the racists are. Who is it that always makes an issue of skin color, by the way? Is it not always Democrats?
It's always the Democrats.
It's always the Democrats. Why? Because it's what they use as leverage to gain votes. Every time they turn around, they're accusing Republicans of being racist and white supremacists. Why? So that the blacks will go out and vote for them. It's as simple as that. But there's a few blacks out there, like Wesley Hunt, who are using his brain, and he can see through the facade. He sees this for what it is. It is these rich white liberal elites who go down there and pander to black Americans. It is pathetic. It's disgusting. It's demeaning. If anything's racist, that's it. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Merrick Garland, because, brother, you just got schooled by a black man by the name of Wesley Hunt, and schooled but good. Oh. Here's my advice. Stay out of Selma. Pitiful place. All right. Let me get to one more thing here. And I want to talk for a minute about Sarah Sanders. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Sarah Sanders is the governor of the state of Arkansas. And she's fairly impressive. Sarah Sanders is very bright, very articulate, very well spoken. Her father was Mike Huckabee. He was once the governor of Arkansas. He ran for president, I think, on 2 occasions. But when Donald Trump took office in his first term, Sarah Sanders was his press secretary. She was his mouthpiece, and a fine one she was. She handled the press very, very good, very professionally. So she eventually resigned, and I think she was replaced. Was it McInerney? Kayleigh McInerney.
Yeah.
And Sarah went back to Arkansas, ran for governor, and she won. She succeeded the feckless Asa Hutchinson, and she has become governor of Arkansas. Well, a few days ago, Sarah Sanders, who's lost a lot of weight, by the way, I've noticed, she was in South Korea, ostensibly to go over there and see about bringing trade from Asian markets back home to Arkansas, as a governor will do. And while over there, she met with South Korean President, I'm going to butcher this, Yoon Suk Yeol, pardon me, President Yoon Suk Yeol. And she met and gave a speech in front of the Korean International Trade Association. Now, I mention this because this was a fairly heady event and an appearance for her. And as she gave her speech, people that saw her give this speech seemed to be rather impressed by her delivery. And it propelled somebody to write an article, and I forgot to get the link. Maybe I can remember it and post it. Apparently, there are people who are seeing Sarah Sanders as presidential timber. Maybe not, obviously, in this election. By the way, Trump has officially won the nomination in terms of delegates. He has the delegates. Right. When he goes to the convention, he has the delegates in his pocket, as does his opponent, the current occupant of the White House. Whether it's going to be Trump versus Biden remains to be seen, but he has effectively won the nomination.
Well, that's the way it looks at the moment.
Right. Who knows what's going to happen, though. So if you're familiar with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, some people are talking about her having a more national political future in the 28th election. Maybe she will, maybe she will not. I don't know. It's possible that she could be on Trump's short list for vice president, I suppose. I don't think she'd be such a bad choice, actually.
I wouldn't have a problem with her.
Well, I mentioned that because I wanted to lead into this as the last thing I want to talk about today. And I want to ask all of you that are watching to chime in down below in the comments. As we all know, Trump apparently has a short list that is not so short in terms of who he is going to select to be his running mate. and I've heard all sorts of names on that list. I think that I saw. Tell me if you saw this. Has he already said that he knows who it is? He just hasn't announced.
I hadn't heard him say that, but I saw Sebastian Gorka on some program the other day, and he was saying that Trump told him who it was, but he was sworn to secrecy. So take that.
Okay, so it's probably safe to assume Trump has made his pick. He just hasn't made his pick public.
Right. And Seb also said that it was somebody that nobody was talking about. So.
Okay. I don't know how to take that.
Surprise.
Yeah, I'm not fond of surprises. I'm going to get into some names here in just a moment, but I know that some of you that are watching this are not Trump supporters. I understand that. Some of you, because I get emails from some of you, and some of you told me either in comments down below or in emails that you're supporting the Kennedy candidacy. Did you tell me that Kennedy announced his running mate already?
Yeah, it was Aaron Rodgers.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has selected Aaron Rodgers as his running mate.
That's what I heard.
Okay, I'm trying to noodle that one out. Aaron Rodgers is a professional quarterback in the National Football League for the New York Jets,
right,
formerly of the Green Bay Packers. He is still on the active roster. Is he? He missed last year with an Achilles tear,
right,
which he suffered in the fourth play of the first game, if you'd like to know. So he missed the remainder of the year because it takes a while to recover from that. But he's coming back this year to start for the Jets. I think he's 40 years old or 39.
I don't know.
So I'm wondering, how is he going to balance his football career with being a potential vice president?
Wouldn't he have to retire from football or put his career on hold or something if he does this?
Well, do you think maybe the Jets would?
or is he saying, the role of the vice president's not all that important unless something happens to the president? So
I got to be at the football game Sunday and a funeral on Sunday afternoon. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know some of you are for Kennedy. That's fine. Some of you are for Trump. I don't know if any of you are for Biden. I hope not. I hope we can enlighten you if you are. I don't know. But what I want to know is simply this: assuming you're voting, well, you don't have to be voting for Trump. The question is this: who do you want Trump to select for vice president? That's what I want you to. That's the question I want you to answer. And comment down below and tell me what you think. I've got my answer. Here are some names for you to consider. The person I would like to see Trump select would be Vivek Ramaswamy. That would be my first choice.
I think he'd be a good one.
It would not hurt my feelings if he selected Tucker Carlson. I saw an article this morning when I was scanning the headlines that Trump may be considering Tucker for Secretary of State. I would be giddy if he selected Rand Paul as his vice president. Throw some other names at me. Who else are you hearing?
I don't.
I'm hearing Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, God.
I'm hearing Glenn Youngkin.
Oh, God.
I'm hearing, who else have I heard?
I don't know, but I'm not in love with either of those two.
DeSantis.
Ugh, him either.
He wouldn't go Nikki Haley, would he?
Oh, God.
He wouldn't go Chris Christie, would he?
Well, I don't, it's hard to say with Trump. I mean, last time around, he talked about draining the swamp and all this on and on and on.
He doesn't drain
forever. And then he goes and puts people in his cabinet that are swamp creatures.
Trump drives me batty.
That's the one thing about him that drives me crazy.
I've heard Greg Abbott, Texas governor.
I don't like him either.
Nor do I.
I mean, the man waited for 3 damn years for 10 million people to come into the country, and now he decides to put up a little bit of razor wire.
He ain't doing much.
No.
He ain't doing what this old boy would be doing, I'll tell you that.
And me neither. I'd have the National Guard with their guns drawn at the border.
Well,
Step into that water. I dare you.
I saw where Trump is endorsing Senator Barrasso, I believe it is. Barrasso. Is he Wyoming?
I don't know where he
To be the new Senate Majority Leader to replace the turtle.
I
And
heard that.
Barrasso is. I'm like, Trump, you're killing me, man. Come on.
Is he like a Mitt Romney type, or I don't know much about him.
Don't make me lie. I don't know much, but I admit I need to look
we're
it
gonna
up.
have to research that then.
But I mean, you've got Rand Paul.
I was gonna say, yeah, Rand Paul would be a much better.
I think Rand Paul would actually be excellent as Senate Majority Leader.
Well, and he's cool headed.
He's rational. He knows how things work.
Mm-hmm.
He would focus on fiscal matters.
Yeah,
which he should.
They all should. But
can you imagine if we could get Rand as Senate Majority Leader and Thomas Massie as Speaker of the House?
Then we might actually get some crap done.
Can you imagine? they could get their legislation passed and go to Trump's office and say, "Sign here."
Yep.
Anyway, comment down below if you will, and tell me who you would like to see Trump select as Vice President. And whether or not you're going to vote for Trump or whether you're going to vote. Some of you, of course, aren't Americans, so that's moot, I understand. But I still am interested in what you have to say. Who would you like to see Trump select as VP? Let me know down below. You got anything else there, sister?
Nope.
Well, it's good to have you back.
Well, thank you.
It's good to have you here on camera.
It's good to be home.
Everybody's been asking, "Where's Marina? Where's Marina?" I'm like, "What's wrong with me? I'm not good enough for you."
Well, you're not nearly as good looking.
Without question. All right, everybody, look, give us a thumbs up on this video if you would, please, and subscribe to the old Triple T channel if you have not done so yet. And yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, that's right, you. Make sure you comment down below. Everybody go out there and have a great day. This is Trailer Trash Tim and
Marina.
We will see you soon.
Bye.